Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. So this is going to be an interesting video because I am doing two things that have nothing to do with one another. But they're two things I want to do and they make no sense on their own. So if they make no sense on their own, they'll make even less sense together. So my channel, my rules, we're going to do them together. I am just off the most glorious weekend with my husband. There was a release of the final director's cut of the Lord of the Rings trilogy from Peter Jackson that came out 20 years ago, y'all. 20 years ago. Anyhow, I remember it was like yesterday going to see the original cuts in theaters. Glorious. But they did a release of the final director's cut. When I say final, I mean even including the mouth of Sauron in Return of the King. Like, yeah. There still could have been room for Tom Bombadil. Anywho, but I will sit through a 4-hour movie to get everything. But they did it over 3 days. So there was a Saturday at 4 o'clock, Friday at 4 o'clock, and then Monday night at 7. And the fourth movie with the director's cut is 4 hours, so we got home at midnight. It was so absolutely just spectacular. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why don't you do one of those edited videos with clips and pictures and all the other stuff the YouTubers do? Look, I've said it. I've tried doing those types of videos. Always gets copyright claimed. So I have made the decision that my content is me because they can't claim me. I can read from books. I don't mind showing pictures and stuff. But the rules, the algorithm does what the algorithm wants to do, and I can't control how the algorithm works, and I'm apparently not in favor. I don't have the algorithm's favor when it comes to that type of thing, so I'm just not going to risk it, especially since my channel just hit the ability to be monetized. I don't have the views yet to do it, but it's hit the ability to be monetized, so I don't want to jeopardize that. So even when I do commentary about expansive topics like, I don't know, the imperial harem in ancient China, one of my favorite topics for some reason, I probably won't use clips. Maybe pictures eventually, but I probably will never use like actual video clips and audio because I don't know how people do it. I don't know how, like, I know there's a time limit and it's too much trouble for me to figure out today, especially for something that doesn't pay my bills. So, But anywho, so it was just an absolutely magnificent viewing experience because some movies, most movies, you gotta see them on the big screen. And what was really amazing was the cross-generational representation. And then the respect for the films. They are so immersive and so well done. It's been a long time since I've had a movie going experience that was that positive. I mean, when I went to go see, because I was real into the Avengers movies when they were coming out, not so much right now. And I think honestly, I think the panorama, the thing that none of us can say. You know how I feel about that. But I think it killed the momentum because I used to go to the movies all the time. I love movies. I love films. I love stories. I love a good story. I was a theater and English major my first go around in college. My degree is in the science of communication. I love stories. I love words. I'm all about it. Stories, words in all the forms. But it's very rare to have a good movie going experience. When I was going religiously to see all of the Marvel movies, sometimes you get a really good crowd and sometimes it just was like when it got to like the big ones like Avengers and Endgame and all of those, like the crowd was just it was electric. But some of like the build movies, like when we went to go see what was it, the Spider-Man movie that had all three of them, was that No Way Home? Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, which that was great. Someone brought their 2-year-old. I know they couldn't find a babysitter. And look, before y'all be like, tomatoes, 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 I went to the 10 o'clock showing on purpose because there was a less chance of there being little bits around. I teach kids. I am fine with children. Look, y'all, they let this child run to and fro in that theater the entire night, just being as loud as she wanted. It was not pleasant for everyone who didn't own that child. So and then I remember a long time ago, this was back when I was in my first go around in college. I was the I was reviewing movies for my school, so they sent me to go see Blade. Yeah, I know. Blade 2, actually. Well, when it came out. Yeah. She's not 20. But I distinctly remember one of the worst movie experiences I had. The crowd that was there that night was just awful, for one thing. Um, but I don't, I never thought the Blade movies were particularly scary. Um, I mean, we live in the age of Hereditary. So, I, it's it's a good action flick, but I would not call those horror. But the people who sat behind me just were horrified for some reason, and literally were kicking the back of my chair for half the film. I told the movie staff, and they were like, "Here's some free passes to see it again." I was just like, but these movies, you could have heard a pin drop when that first note of the violin started to play. You know what I mean? When the little burning text goes across the screen. And there was this from the entire audience, young, old, and in between. And for 3.5 to 4 hours, everyone was just captivated by what was happening on the screen. Do you think we'll ever make movies like that again? Now, the other thing that I'm doing today is unboxing this. This is not like a haul or anything, so even though my channel's not, making money yet, it has reached monetization, and I have to thank all of you for that, because without views, without subscribers, that does not happen. So I'm hoping that once the channel actually generates some type of income, I can start using that to, well, the nerdy things that I plan to give away to people, I will be able to give away. But the channel has to pay for that to happen. But it doesn't do that without you. But fortunately for me, she got a whole day job. And so does the husband. And, bills are paid. I'm not worried about it. So that is a blessing to be able to do something like this that you like. And I think my channel, when I read people's comments, and like, your channel seems so pure, and this is not how I make a living. It probably will never be how I make a living. I literally talk about stuff that I like, that is fun. Period, point blank. And I appreciate the views that enable me to do that, because it makes it worthwhile to share nerdiness and all of its facets with everyone. But the thing that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about today is this. I am investing in my channel, and y'all should see my janky camera setup. You might notice that every time I film, the angle changes, because her camera setup is different every single time. Depending on if it's like standalone camera, my phone, or my PC, because I've got 3 ways to film. The PC and the phone provide the best picture quality. I have an actual camera, and it gets on my nerves to set up. But it does, if I do it that way, then I get a purer set of files that are easier to edit. So I need to use it more. I like using the PC because I can upload like my gaming and stuff directly to YouTube. Like, it just literally from StreamYard go, and it's on the channel. Like, it's great. Uncut, unfiltered. But, if I want to keep doing this, I had to make an investment. And that's where this comes in. Because if I want to talk about things like Lord of the Rings and, like, say, maybe put an image here or something, I need a way to record differently that allows me to have, like, the liminal space around me to do it. Because I'm real close in, but that's just a limitation of where my chair, the camera, and all of that is. And right now I'm recording from my phone, and so the front-facing camera on the phone, it can zoom, but the zoom on the other camera, not instead of the front-facing, is much better than the front-facing camera zoom. So, here we go. Because I've also got a tablet that I can connect this to, and I can turn this thing around and use and see so let's open this thing while she talks more about Lord of the Rings. Are you prepared for the weirdest video ever? It's what we did. So you'll find that I'm someone that never besmirches artists. Art is like wine. Wine is a very subjective beverage. I heard a sommelier, if you're from America. Y'all know what I feel about accents too. It's not mispronunciation, y'all. We all have a different accent. Like, settle down. It's okay. Like, I don't go to a country that's not America and expect them to say American English words perfectly. That would sound dumb. And vice versa. Anywho, you don't change your accent because you're saying a word outside of your language. I'm off that soapbox today. Ooh, that's a good, look at all them little clicks on this tripod. Y'all, Amazon. Look, I know how we are lucky all Jeff Bezos wants to do is sell us stuff. Anyway, but yeah, okay. All right, okay. I don't know if this is the bottom or the top yet, so let's keep opening things. But art is completely subjective. Wine is subjective. So I heard a sommelier tell me that there's no such thing as good or bad wine. Everyone has a different palate. A good example of that would be cilantro. Genetically, a third of the planet thinks cilantro tastes like soap. And they don't just think it, it does taste like a bath product to them. They put it in their mouth and they're like, tastes like soap. That's why you should never force a child to eat something that they're genuinely like, this tastes bad. Like, my parents did that to me when I was a kid. I hate mayonnaise. I don't eat like the custardy egg products that have been left at room temperature. I don't do that. You know, I don't do potato salad, chicken salad. I don't do mayonnaise, Miracle Whip. Like, it just, even the smell of it to me is like, oh. I know how to make mayonnaise. I will make it for my family and do them really nice chicken and tuna salad, but I will like literally be wearing gloves and a gas mask. I don't taste it. I'm that good of a cook that I can mix the seasonings and give them a great product, even though I will never taste it. Because to me, it's hideous, but to you, it might taste good. To me, I like cilantro. I think cilantro is delicious, but one of my relatives thinks it tastes like palm olive, which, how do you know how palm olive tastes, first of all? Joking. Wine is the same way. A wine from an inexpensive grocery vendor isn't necessarily a bad wine. I'm going not sponsored, but I'm going to pick on Aldi for a second. Aldi sells $4 bottles of wine. Well, they might be $5 now, inflation. But I've tried them. A couple of them, I was like, oh, tastes like this came out of a shoe. A couple of them, I was like, okay, $5 wine. And then there's like one, I was like, oh, gonna give them a run for their money. There's a really good mid-range brand of wine that I like. Again, not sponsored, but the Apothic wines, like, they're from like $9 to $12 a bottle. I think the most expensive Apothic I've seen is like $15, which for a decent wine isn't bad. I've not tried an Apothic that I don't like. They're all just beautifully made. Care has gone into it, and it's a female-owned brand. Girl power. Yeah, so to someone with a sophisticated palate, or so they say, they might look at some of those brands and be like, well, they weren't aged for 97 years in the catacombs under Paris. Yeah, but they still taste good. Maybe it wasn't for you. And that's how art is. Art is completely subjective. Now, granted, there are some things that people do intentionally to be provocative, to evoke an emotion, or to get a rise out of people, to offend. We're not going to call that art. We're going to call that being an asshole. There's a difference. Know the difference. There are things that people do in the name of art just to hack people off for no reason. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about when people genuinely put their passion behind a creation and want to share that creation, whether it's a story. Well, what I do, I primarily on this channel, I'm a storyteller. I was doing some pre-interviewing at work. Interview practice, I guess you would call it. And one of the people that was doing interview practice with me, he said, "You're a really good storyteller." And I was like, well, I kind of do this for a living. I better be. You know? But that's what I do here, is I tell stories. I look through stuff that I like and have, and I tell stories with and about it, which is what I'm doing today. I'm opening a new ring light, basically. My new investment in my channel. See how I did that? See how I brought it back around? I'm investing in my channel, and I decided to purchase a new ring light, and that's what I'm opening. When people choose to share their art, it's for someone. Like, my channel's not for everybody. If it was, I'd have 10 million followers already. My channel is for people who are into Sailor Moon and Transformers and cosplay Warhammer. And just whatever random nerdity pops out of my mouth, and it's okay with a format that's basically a talking head most of the time, sharing stuff they like. This format is not for everyone. That's okay. You know, Lord of the Rings, as beautiful of a story it is, it's not for everyone. You know, I love the Harry Potter books, but they're not for everyone. You know, I'm absolutely on the floor in love with the Warhammer lore. It's not for everyone. Warhammer has a sci-fi side and a fantasy side. For me, when it comes to the Warhammer fantasy side, Lord of the Rings exists. So I will probably never get into the fantasy side. There are some models on the fantasy side that I've seen, and I'm like, ooh, those are gorgeous. Like one of the people that we do Aeronautica with and Warhammer with is painting giants for the Warhammer fantasy side, and they've got this blue skin and gold clothes, and they are gorgeous. Connor, you're doing good work. But it's not for everyone. So you'll find me to be somebody that gives artists a break. You know, I've talked about this before on my channel, that I used to watch a lot of critics on the YouTube, you know, mostly for the summarization of stuff, but I switched from watching critics to really, if I watch anything about media that I like, I more go on the theory side, or the explanation side, but not so much the critiquing, because the critiquing has gotten to a point where I'm not going to call it bullying, but it's kind of like, you know, the folks that are really into sports, and they sit there and they tell the television what they should have done to make the play, or what they would have done if they were there, as if, you know, that person, most of us we're never going to be professional athletes or professional coaches, but you know, they know exactly what they should have done. This has so many pieces. Oh my God. But they know exactly what they should have done. I do this for you. I'm making this investment for you. I paid for this. To be fair, like, I've got another ring. Can you see it? No, but my old ring light is behind me. It's lived a good life. But I've had it now for like 4 years. And I had another small one that sat on my desk. It died. I have had it for like 6 or 7 years. And I use it for work too. So when I'm recording for work dead on, or if I'm on video for a meeting, I need light. Like right now, you know, I'm at a time of day where the sun is on my side. But if the sun's not on my side, depending on what time of year it is, I need some help with the light. Oh, wow. There's a thumbnail. So yeah, I do this for you. This one came with way more pieces. The last one was just a tripod and a thing that you stuck on a stand. So this has way more pieces than I thought it would. Holy cow. That's why I can sell you everything for $9 on Amazon, because you got to put it together. So the reason I chose this one though was this ring light came with a desk mini stand. So this can now go on my desk for recording, and I can get a good height for my camera with a really good light right in front of me. I care about your viewing quality. But anyway, back to my conversation around the artist. So when it came to, where'd my dog go? Okay, he's over there. We're not going to throw this time because the dog is asleep. Right there. He's mommy's precious baby. And we're not going to scare him and wake him up. He's the Pookums. That's his nickname, the Pookums. Ooh, look at all these modes. That's kind of great. Huh. Lots of colors. And a remote. That's even better. Yeah, of course, everything is USB powered. Oh, it's got a camera shutter. Oh, nice. Oh, even comes with a 12-month replacement warranty. I'll hold on to that, because these ring lights, you know, I mean, $25 was not a huge amount of money to spend. But, you know, if it breaks, I'd like my money back, or a new one. What is this? A selfie ring. Oh my God. They sent me an extra gift. I told y'all this was going to be a random video. You're still here, so this is on you at this point. It is a ring light to go on your phone. I suppose you charge this. No, it takes a battery, and you clip it to your Did I already break it? No, I didn't. Okay, and you just clip it to your... Would have been better if it was rechargeable. What does it take? AAA's, which I do have. That's rather clever. I guess this is so the camera can see through and you can have perfect light every time. So I can clip it right here. It's kind of wonderful. I kind of love it. Because right now I'm using, I mentioned I had other ring lights. So I've got on my vanity, I've got like one of those ring lights that's kind of on a squiggle arm with those little bendy arms, and it clips to the desk, and it has like multiple light modes, and that's for putting on makeup when I wear it. I do wear makeup. I know it might look like I have some on. I don't. It's just she moisturizes. But I'm using the ring light on my desk right now, which I have one, exactly the one that's on my vanity is on my desk here. I have two of them, which again, for work, I need good light. I'm going to see if I can clip this to my laptop and see what kind of light it gives me if I'm recording for work. That's kind of great. I didn't order this. This came with... See, I be liking these vendors that throw extra stuff in the bag. Like, a lot of times when I order hair, yes, my hair is not blue. My hair is this long, but it's not blue. My hair is braided up. When you braid it, it comes down to about right here in the braids. If it was straightened, it'd be about this long, which she doesn't straighten her hair. That's a process I'm not into. I'm actually about, at the time of this recording, probably within 3 or 4 days, these braids are coming out because they've been in here for 2 months and I'm done with them. But like if I order hair or if I order a wig or something, it usually comes with like earrings or clips or something like that. Like that's great, you know? So like these vendors that throw like little extra stuff, thank you. Yeah, thank you. But back to the topic at hand. So I was watching a lot of critics, and critics were honestly ruining the experience of loving stories and movies for me. Like, I get it. Anything can be critiqued. I teach for a living. Let me tell you, half of my job is letting people criticize me. And it's letting people criticize me and critique me who don't do what I do. You know? Or if they do it, they did it a long time ago. Oh, great. Another remote. I got so many things on my desk that have remotes and light up, and they all seem to be on the same RFID. Let's see if this will turn on my... Yep, this turned on my desk light. Did it turn on my chair? Let's see if it turned on the chair. No, it didn't turn on the chair. But it turned on my desk light. That's great. But what's funny is these little RF readers, you have to be real close to the receiver. So if I like go over there, it won't do that. But you think I'm joking about the remotes? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The ones I already have. Adding this one to it. I think this is the one that came with my desk. This is the one that came with my chair. This one goes to a little light thing I've got strung over there that you can see sometimes when I do gaming videos. It's like little sakura flowers that have different modes. And now this one that came with my ring light. My mini remote stack. Oh, this has like a lot of pieces. I'm still just getting stuff out. Critics were ruining movies for me. A lot of the critics, you know, they were aspiring filmmakers, and I get that. Had a dream, weren't able to achieve their dream, because to make it in popular media requires a great deal of sacrifice and sometimes putting your morals in a box that most people are not ready to do. And you shouldn't be. If you've got to set your conscience aside to do something, that's probably not the thing you should do. Like whenever we have new hires come through, and I was doing a lot of new hire training back in the day. I don't train new hires as much anymore, but you know, back during those times, you know, one of the things I would always challenge new hires with was you need to examine our company credo and whatnot, because you want to make sure you work somewhere that aligns with what you believe. It makes it easier to work there. You know, and I was finding that in watching so many critics and critiques is that I was watching a lot of people who had aspirations to make it in the business, and they didn't. But honestly, I was once a person who aspired to make it in the business. Ages and ages ago, I was a little bit of a prodigy when it came to Shakespeare. African American females who do Shakespeare are rare, apparently. Didn't know that when I was 15, but I mean, I won a lot of competitions doing Shakespeare. I got invitations to theater conservatories when I was younger, to study and that kind of thing. I did end up going into school for theater. Didn't make a living out of it, but part of the reason I did not pursue it further was the deeper I got into the business and understanding how the business works. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy some of the pressures that were in the industry. You know, the pressures, especially on young people. It's not, if you think the pressure on physicality is specifically on women in the industry, it is not. Men just have a different type of pressure. It's there too. The hours didn't bother me. I don't mind crazy hours. When you travel for a living, you're going to work crazy hours and get over that. I don't know what part is up and what part is down. I don't. So I'm going to set this here and I'm going to see, like, what is it? This is heavy. Like, that is heavy. So that doesn't go there. It flipped over. Okay. This goes up. That's cool. What the science? This is why we put a man on the moon. Yep, she's just figuring out how this goes together. Are there instructions? Probably. Oh, there are. Look at that. Okay. So. But the industry is difficult. I'm not going to get into all the nuances of the difficulties that exist. I think we all know what they are. But it is not a way of life for everyone. I found that it could not be a way of life for me. So I made other decisions with my life. I left all of my aspirations of greatness in the theater and left those behind. But my love of stories never left me. I still love a good story. I still love good writing. I still revisit my favorite English literature quite often. I've done several English lit readings, and I'll continue to do those. You know, it's my channel. There's so many books in there I can read from. I got 99 years of content in all of the novels that I love. And I will keep sharing those with people because I think it's important for good literature to endure. You know, I was doing Shakespeare. You know, one of my best roles was I was Don John from As You Like It, or Midsummer Night's Dream, whichever title you want to go with. And that was one that won me a lot of awards. You played a guy. It's Shakespeare. Anybody can play anything. But I would do one of his great speeches. You know, and also I did Catherine's speech at the end as well. Thou nature art my goddess, to thy law my substance abound, but wherefore should I? Yeah. And I used to do a lot of sonnets as well from Shakespeare. Thou nature art my God. Yeah, just all kinds of stuff. Really loved, you know, older poetry. Dickens has always been one of my favorite authors. When I was younger, when I was like from 6th grade to like when I was 20, Charles Dickens was my favorite author. Yeah, I know, right? I love a good story. These are good stories that have been told throughout time. Stories that endure. And I think that's what I really appreciated about the Lord of the Rings experience. I gotta pick up my ring from the floor and attach things to it now. This is crazy. But okay, so this goes here. I was talking to my husband about it. I was like, it's been so long since I've had a movie going experience where everybody who was in the movie was captured by the movie, where there wasn't a toddler who should have been with a babysitter running around. So people weren't screaming and talking the whole time in voices. They're just going to be whispering. I mean, it's Lord of the Rings. You know the big lines we all said together, even if it was under our breath. Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, put them in a stew. We all did it. For Frodo. We all did it. One does not simply march. We all did it. I did it. It was great. My husband, he's not nearly as big a fan as I am, even though he is a fan. But he just sat there just hilariously watching me just be enthralled with these movies. Because good art endures. You know, when it comes to those who are screwing in, this thing came with two very sturdy phone holders, which I need because my phone is in a wallet case and most of these can't stand up to hold that. It feels like these can. Those movies endure because there was so much love put into bringing Tolkien's vision to life. You know, before you criticize art and complain that it's not the art you would have made, we have to consider, could we have made the art? Because to get to a certain level of accomplishment in Hollywood requires a level of sacrifice that, quite frankly, most of us do not want to make. You might think you want to make it. You don't. You do not. It might sound appealing, the glitz, the glam, the money. But what a lot of people have to give up to get there, most of us simply can't do it. I was, when I finally made the decision to abandon my major, interesting story. When I finally decided I can't do this anymore, I love figuring out how to put things together, that this is not going to be the way that I live my life. I was in, I'd auditioned for a small production, and I had gone to the rehearsal, and things were going pretty well at first. It was, you know, it was just going to be like a little independent, you know, independent poetry kind of thing. And the director made a comment to me in the middle of our rehearsing that really hacked me off. He made a physical comment about my body. I'm not going to repeat what it was, but it was highly inappropriate. And in that moment, I thought, if I accept this right now and choose to go into this industry, this is what I accept for the rest of my life. It's already hard enough out there to be a girl. Do I want to add this layer of complication to my existence? And I chose not to. That's when I left college and went to go work in technology, and I haven't looked back. I've made a lot of money working in technology. I started out in sales, and because when, you know, what do you do with a theater and English degree? You sell. That's what you do. Because you're a trained speaker, you're trained to walk, talk, and present well, and that translates really easily into the work of selling. Great. You know, I've done a lot with my chosen career path, and I'm thankful that I did it. I'm thankful that I didn't acquiesce to what I thought I had to do in order to be successful. Because if I had done that, look at this cute little desk lamp, cute little desk stand. If I had done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. But I have a special place in my heart for the artists that go on and make the sacrifice. Like, granted, yeah, they make a lot of money. It's easy to look and say, oh, well, you know, their compensation is the millions of dollars they got. Trust me, millions of dollars won't heal a broken spirit. Millions of dollars don't get you your dignity back. There are people who've had to do things that you or I would never consider to get to where they've made it in their outwardly facing artistic career. So I have a special place in my heart for artists. You know, when the Hobbit movies came out, there was a lot of criticism around them. They're not as good as the others. What happened? They changed directors and production houses several times. You can see that what happens when there's an interference in the creative process. I think that the 789 in Star Wars is a really good example of that. You could see in A New Hope what the original vision was, and then the next two movies that came, they were different directors, and the studio made other decisions, and that changed the entire direction of that trilogy. That happened with The Hobbit as well. Peter Jackson was not originally directing those. Stuff happened, and he picked it up mid-production. Ian McKellen actually is quoted as saying that there were days on set that he was breaking down because he was acting to nothing. He was acting to CGI, and an actor like him who's classically trained, that's just not how he was brought into this world. To become an artist at that level, you have to give up your autonomy. There are so many decisions that are not made by you as the creator. When you want your creation to be widely received, those who are giving you the money to make your creation come to life, they have control. That's why the story isn't as pure as the critics would like it to be. Or maybe they used more conventional storylines and plot lines. It's because production houses want to make money. And they have to appeal to as many people as possible. You know, that's why so many action movies now include a scene where something happened in Hong Kong. Because that's one of the biggest markets on Earth. You know, a quarter of the people on the planet are Chinese, not Asian, Chinese. And another quarter are Indian, not Asian, Indian. Okay? So they're going to put in their movies what it takes to appeal to an audience that is emerging for some other parts of the world. To us, we're an emerging market for them in some aspects. For us in entertainment, they're an emerging market to us, and we are swapping media, and our production houses intentionally do things to appeal to those markets and break in there. That's how the industry works. But once in a while, a Lord of the Rings comes along. Once in a while, you get that combination of visionary, of art, and support that produces something that can endure. I remember, because they came out around my birthday every single year that the Lord of the Rings movies came out. And so the Harry Potters, incidentally. Of being so excited when we heard that one of the best directors on earth got Lord of the Rings. And when you see that camera pan over to Frodo sitting in the grass, and the joy on his face when he sees Gandalf approaching, and you are instantly fully immersed in the world. To see Middle-earth brought to life. That movie was able to be what it was because Tolkien wrote such a beautiful world and story. If you've not read The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, highly recommend it. Can't recommend The Silmarillion. I've read it twice. I'm never going to read it again. That's the history book of Tolkien's universe. They're beautiful books. And audio exists. Audio is an option. But this past weekend, it was just so beautiful to see great art being loved and celebrated. And everyone, for a few moments, indulging in a little escapism. When you're watching your favorite artists, when you're enjoying your YouTubers, when you're listening to your songs, you know, you're not responsible for the choices other people made. Not at all. But I think it does all of us a little bit of good to remember that for people to reach a certain level, they made sacrifices most of us will not make. I'm not willing to sacrifice my family, my morality, or my safety for the sake of success. I do this because I like it. And if it ever becomes unsafe or not fun, I won't do it anymore. Period. Right now, while it's fun, I'll keep doing it. And then the art is subjective. My channel's not for everyone. This video here is going to be a prime example of that. Some people are going to get 4 minutes in and go, no, what is she doing? Why is she rambling while she puts together a ring light? And some people are going to put me in their ears and listen to the whole thing as a podcast while they go about their day. And that's perfectly fine. Well, I always want to remind people who enjoy all kinds of art is that what's most important to artists is that someone out there appreciates their art. The art that appeals to you might not be the art that appeals to me. And the art that appeals to me might not be the art that appeals to you. But all of it should be celebrated and valued. And we need to give our creators a break, because what it takes to bring art to the masses, most people are unaware, uninitiated into the process. And I, for one, appreciate that Peter Jackson, through the works of Tolkien, was able to create some art that's going to endure for generations. And I hope in 20 years, they bring them out again. Because I'm going. You know, I'm pretty happy with this setup. This feels far more sturdy than my previous ring light. Maybe they're just making them better now, because even my little desk ring light feels like a whole different product. So, you know, I'm looking at my little instructions here, and it says I can throw the ring light directly on the stand, but there's also this that I can attach. So I'm going to bring that up, because this will be my extra, basically, camera lens, for lack of a better term. That will go on the pole, so if I need to clip my tablet here or something, I can see what I'm doing and use the other side. Or I can actually break out my little video camera, because this actually has a place where my video camera stand can, and it has a viewfinder, so I can turn the viewfinder and then that little screen, so I can see when I'm recording. I can turn it back on myself. So that actually will be nice, because I paid a little bit of money for that camera when I first started YouTube. And then the first ring light I ordered didn't have the right attachments. I haven't done, when I was in theater, I didn't really do camera work. I wasn't in that major for camera work, so I didn't learn all that stuff. I learned, how to, hang gel lights and do sound, but I never really got into cameras. But I'm learning. It's a process. But I think I'm happy with this, and I love this little desk mount that I've got now. And with that little ring light that clips onto my, this is going to be kind of great. And it's even got a different way to connect here. So I'm kind of loving that. I have many options on how things connect now. I think what I'm going to do is test this out. So the next video of me you see, I will probably still be wearing the same thing, but I'm going to test out a little bit of my new gadgetry here and see if it does what I hope it does. Yeah. So it's a different kind of video. She rambled, she put together her new ring light, but I'm kind of excited. Are you excited? Okay. As always, I love your thoughts. I love interacting in the comments. For as long as I can answer every comment, I'm going to do my best. Unless you're being mean, I'm not going to answer you. I'm just not going to acknowledge you're there. Just so you know, if you troll me, you can troll. It's fine. Freedom of speech. Troll away. I'm not going to answer you. She can't be bothered. So, what happened to my comment? You were mean. Especially if you're mean to another viewer in the comments. I'm really just... We don't do that here. Okay? I firmly believe in the freedom of speech, but I also believe in the freedom of consequences. So, interesting video today. But she had thoughts and she wanted to get them out. I love art. I respect artists. And if you're an artist, thank you. Everything that we have do experience that is beautiful and fun is because of an artist. These earrings that I'm wearing were created by an artist. The ombre in my braids, somebody had to come up with that. These beautiful wall scrolls and action figures, the clothes that I wear, these were created by a creative mind. Thank you, artist, for being artistic. Because without you, the world would just be bunches of shades of gray, and nobody can abide that. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.